Entrepreneurs, get ready. Turn this up. Welcome to the Impact Over Everything podcast with Beez and Van. Let's get to it.
Right, all right. How y'all doing? Everybody good? Yeah, y'all looking real nice today. Man, super excited. I appreciate everybody coming out, taking the trips, taking the flights, driving far, paying for the hotels, getting the babysitters, getting the hair done, getting the shoes, getting a new dress, getting a new jacket. I love it. Y'all invested y'all time. Y'all invested y'all everything, your time, your resources, everything to come here. So you already started rebranding because you rebranded your mindset. You here rebranding your community. You rebranding your ability to touch more people and take your brand to the next level. So if y'all thought this was about logos and color schemes, nah, we didn't bring y'all all the way out here for that.
I don't know nothing about that stuff, so I'm here for a different reason, right? But yeah, everybody's looking amazing. So many smiling faces, so much positive energy. That's the most important thing. And everybody made sure that they got into this room. Who are you most excited to see this weekend? What made you be like, yo, I need to come out here? I saw he got this person. He got Beez.
Beez.
Tell me. Come on, somebody say, who are you most excited to see? Van, Beez. There you go. I like that. See, okay. What about, there's this guy, he does like podcasts and things. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but you know, I'm gonna bring him out for y'all, right? Maybe you might be interested in hearing what he got to say today. What y'all think? All right. So you ready, my brother?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, give us 1 second. I appreciate everybody's patience. I appreciate everybody's energy, and we're going to make this happen. We're going to have a really good night tonight, good conversation, and I think you're really going to like some of the things that we're going to be talking about and dragging out of this special guest. All right?
Who came the farthest? That's what I want to know.
That'd be me.
Besides him.
Where do you come from?
Florida? What part? Minnesota? Where?
Sarasota.
Nope,
down farther than that.
Where you come from? Boston, Virginia, North Carolina, Minnesota.
Minnesota might be.
Connecticut,
that might be it right there.
I don't know, that might be it.
I think we need Google Maps to really see.
So, Connecticut, New York, where? Chicago, Atlanta, Texas. We about to put ourselves on the spot right now, right? We about to be vulnerable right now. Who knew that me and Beez had a podcast called Impact Over Everything Podcast? Raise your hand. That's not enough hands. That's a poor job of marketing.
There you go.
Because not more than half the people raise their hands. So everybody take out their phones right now.
There we go.
Everybody take out their phones right now. So y'all don't miss another episode.
This was the plan all along. We purposely didn't want anybody to know about it until we got to the rebrand mastermind, because then we're going to show you what you're supposed to do is not what we've been doing, right? That was the plan?
Go. Yeah, I think that was the plan.
Okay, there we go. See?
So take out your phones. Everybody got your phones out. So go to, what platform you want them to go to?
Let's go to, all my iPhone people. Let's go to Apple Podcast. I heard that Apple now allows people to FaceTime outside of iPhones. So the ghetto done come to iPhone now.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm playing Android. It's all good. I love y'all, kinda. But go to Spotify, go to Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, and look for Impact Over Everything Podcasts with Beez and Van.
And hit the subscribe button.
There we go.
So we are 6 episodes in. This will be our 7th episode. This will be the absolute first time that we did live podcasts in person. We wanted to do it with an amazing guest, a special guest, someone that's killing it in the game, in the podcast game, someone that we look up to as a mentor in the podcast game, someone that has been relentless with consistency, that has put a lot of entrepreneurs' visions, their brands, the things that they're doing into the community out to the world so more people can know the positive things that these people are doing. So no further ado, I want to bring my brother, somebody that I look to as a mentor in the content game, in the podcast game, Mr. David Shands.
Round of applause. Let's go.
What's going on, y'all? What is happening right here?
I don't know,
What's
man.
going on,
Get
y'all?
that energy up.
Okay, all right. I didn't know what was going on.
First thing that we gotta say is it's the Impact Over Everything podcast with Beez and Van, where we challenge everything.
And we stand for something so we don't fall for anything.
You heard? Listen, David Shands, my brother, listen, thank you for coming out here. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for being an inspiration to the entrepreneur community. Thank you for showing our community in general what is possible. Then by putting everybody on stage, by interviewing everybody and letting people understand and get to the heart of what entrepreneurs are doing in our community right now, I can't think of anyone that's changing the world as much as you. So being on here where it's impact over everything, it's an honor and a must that you would be our first live guest.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's go. Come on, clap it up. Let's go.
Clap it up.
It's not on the surface. It's really cool because I get to highlight just amazing entrepreneurs, especially from our community that's doing, amazing things. And, I'm in the airport and everywhere. People are like, I got this many cars and I'm in the government contracting because they're listening to the podcast. But really, man, I was trying to find out a way to get around super successful people and ask questions and pick their brain without having to pay for it.
Ingenious.
If I'm being real.
Genius.
So you might see the podcast and I'm just asking questions for me. Like sometimes they use a word that I don't understand and I'm like, okay, I need to know what that word means because this is for me. And I forget the people are there. So it goes both ways, and I think everybody, and I have to say it on every platform, I think everybody needs a podcast because 10, 15 years ago, if you wanted to have your voice heard, someone would have to knight you and say, you should be on the radio, right? Or you should be on TV, and you're auditioning, but now you can just let your voice be heard. And I think everybody needs to start one because there's a group of people that are waiting to hear your voice. You know what I mean? And, there's some people that's not gonna listen to my podcast, but they will listen to your perspective. And I figured out a way how to monetize my personality, and I think everybody can do that too.
Okay. We're gonna get into that, but I want to go back. I want to go back a little bit further. First of all, if you don't know, I was on his podcast. Anybody know the name of his podcast before? There we go. Say it again. Social Proof. And
Van was on.
Clap it up. Was on the Valley guys.
Two amazing episodes.
2 amazing episodes for sure. I think it's my favorite 2 episodes actually. But how did you even get the idea to start a podcast? Because everybody knows the whole Cheesecake Factory Dave story and everything. But was that your transition into your entrepreneurial career? It was like, let me start with a podcast?
Nah, I was working at the Cheesecake Factory and I started this t-shirt brand, Sleep is for Suckers, geared towards entrepreneurship and anyone that's ever lost sleep doing what they love. So at the time, I'm working at my job and I have this dream and I built a brand around being myself. I don't have to build a brand teaching people you can be millionaires because I'm not. But I'm saying one thing I can do is give up sleep to get what I want out of life. So I worked at Cheesecake Factory for 6 years. The last 2.5 years, I was able to quit and go full time into my t-shirt brand. But for the podcast, I didn't know what a podcast was when I started it, but I'm an entrepreneur. I am a marketer, right? So I'm thinking, I'm doing these conferences and my whole premise was if I'm gonna get all these people to speak at my conference, I need to get a way to get you guys to understand how amazing these people are. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if Beez is gonna speak, I'm gonna put a flyer out saying, hey, Beez is gonna be there. And then I'm gonna interview Beez so that when you watch it, you say, oh wow, I didn't know who that was. He's gonna be at the conference. I'll buy a ticket to come see the person I just seen Dave interview on the podcast. It was just a way to sell tickets. But we went through, obviously, when the conference is over, I stopped interviewing. And then we did another conference, but then, this is 2020, so we had to go virtual and all that kind of stuff. And after the conference, I stopped. And one of my OGs, man, Troy and Rashad from Earn Your Leisure. Y'all familiar with Earn Your Leisure? Really, really dope, man. So we were out eating. They came in town. They was like, yo, man, I like your podcast. I like what you're doing. And he was just eating. We was just out at lunch. You just ain't consistent. And I'm thinking, bruh, you don't even know me like that. We just met. Calling me out my name. I took it personally. Because it wasn't like he was like, you know what, you need to be more consistent and he's teaching me and coaching me. He just said it and I took it personal. And I said, oh, I get it. Because I could see if I'm doing some episodes, it spikes and then I stop and then it goes down and spikes and goes down. He said, all you got to do is be consistent. So I went on my morning meetup call. Anybody here in the morning meetup? Make some noise. Act like you're excited so these other people know what's happening here. So I came on a morning meetup and I said, I have sold out for this whole podcast thing, okay? I'm gonna do this thing every single week, and if I do not do a podcast every single week, every Monday, I'll come on here and give away $500. Because for me, I know I need consequences. So some of you might say, hey, I'm gonna go on a diet, I'm gonna lose this weight, but if you don't stick to the diet, what happens?
There we go.
Nothing. So for me, if I say I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna go to the gym 5 days a week, I need to put something on it. Because if I don't put something on it, I'm not gonna do it. If I don't have something to lose, I'm not gonna do it. So really, it was the community that helped me stay consistent, and I just kept going from there.
How inconsistent were you? Like me and Van inconsistent without the beginning of our podcast?
How often y'all release your episodes?
It was weekly, and then we had like a 3-week break.
Yeah, just like that. Hold on, it's only 6 episodes.
Yeah.
He said it was weekly, and then we stopped. What you did, 2 episodes and stopped? And then
It was like 3, right?
Nah, we went 5 straight weeks.
Was it 5 straight?
Beez went on a speaking tour. Forgot about the podcast. I launched an exotic rental-car company. Forgot about the podcast. And at the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, we got busy, but at the end of the day, it's impact over everything, so we got to find a way, right? For sure. So we said, you know what? We're going to get David on stage, and he's going to let us know exactly what we need to do to take it to the next level.
For sure. Here's what we can do, okay? Are you guys dedicated to releasing this thing every single week so people have stuff to feast on it?
Definitely.
Feast on. Okay.
Absolutely.
So if we miss an episode, what happens?
Create a consequence. Okay, I see where he's going.
I feel like we should all go to Miami. Like he do a Miami conference, and if they miss an episode, we just get to come. They still got to put it on, and we just get to come for free.
Okay.
So this is what I'll do. If we miss an episode, I will pay $2,000 to one person in your community towards their mortgage.
He will do that.
If we miss an episode,
then he
the Impact Over Everything podcast will put $2,000 towards someone of your choice from your community from the morning meetup towards their mortgage payment.
I rock with that. Yeah, clap it up.
This is live. There we go.
There you go. It's live. It's being recorded.
You know what? I would rather somebody here that's witnessing it.
Okay.
They get the
there we go.
2,000.
All right, there we go. So how we gonna pick? So how you gonna pick someone in the room?
Don't put that.
No,
we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll make an announcement. We'll do a giveaway, something like that.
There we go. It'll come from this the people that are here. It'll come from the people that's here.
Absolutely.
So that's a good question too now, right? Because to be honest, that was part of the problem. It was that okay, well, I was busy for a little bit first. Then I was like, hey, we got to get back on this. But then he was busy, and now you also have a co-host, right?
Yes.
How did you and your co-host start together, and how did you manage, having to depend on someone else's time or anything like that? Any issues like with that?
No, because we didn't start together, so I was doing it already. And the most important thing that you can probably look at is the analytics in your business, right? So a lot of people here, you have a business and you're not looking at your analytics, or I want to say I want to grow my Instagram, but you're not looking at the analytics. So I'm looking at analytics every single day. And what I see is that 89% of my viewers are men. I'm seeing the problem, right? Every problem, you'll find it in the numbers. 89% are men. So then I started looking at like all the podcasts. I'm like, oh, this makes sense because a lot of my guests are men. And then I started looking at my friends. A lot of my friends are men, which my wife's cool with. She's fine with that. But I'm like, oh, well, now I need another woman specifically answer the analytics to see what the analytics are saying, because women ain't rocking with it.
So was it more to attract for the guys to be like, oh, here's a pretty face as well? A smart mind and pretty face?
89% are men, that means women aren't watching me.
And you think they weren't watching you because you didn't have representation for them?
I think a woman would help bring other women. I got a perspective I'm approaching entrepreneurship from a male's perspective, obviously. Yeah. I don't think so, but the numbers say so.
All right, well, Van, I'm sorry, man. Can we get a girl up here instead?
Man, listen.
I think it'll be helpful.
It might be helpful.
Let me tell you, and it helps with consistency too. So I do interviews with my, just me and other people. We do interviews. But I needed another segment because I'm thinking, what if I can't find a guest to do an interview? Well, I still have to release an episode because I'm not about to give these people this money. But I didn't want to do it by myself. So I'm like, well, we'll batch interviews with me interviewing one-on-one. We'll do a whole bunch of interviews with me and Donnie just doing it one-on-one, and we'll release it that way. And then Donnie got sick. She was gone for like 3 weeks. But we still did the 2 a week because I had them all in the can.
Recently or the first time?
Yeah, recently. She just came back this last Thursday.
How many people in the audience have business? Dave said something recently that to me was the most important thing that I've heard him say out of everything. And it was that if your business cannot continue moving without you, then you don't really have a business, right? And his co-host was sick for maybe about 3 weeks with COVID, and her business kept running. And it was just the perfect example of what we all speak about so often. So that's an important thing for sure.
Here's the question. Can you afford to get sick?
That's deep.
And I want you to like really think about it. Think through it. Can you afford to get sick?
That leads us into this question here. Entrepreneurship storm has hit the black community
For sure.
with a vengeance, right? What do you feel about entrepreneurship and how the black community has responded to entrepreneurship and being able to give value to the earth from what we've been seeing in the last few months or a few years?
I think it's amazing. I mean, we get into everything and take over. So I'm sure there was some point where they're like, yo, basketball has hit the black community. And like we just took over and started winning, right? At some point, because it wasn't always black. I think it's just beautiful, especially when we come together, we share resources, we share information, we share game. And there's a whole lot of opportunity, you know what I mean? So the fact that everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, we know that everybody that wants to be an entrepreneur won't necessarily be a successful entrepreneur, but the only reason they won't be successful is if they don't tap into the community. So what you're doing right now is amazing because there's a community here, but some people in the community might miss it because they're waiting for y'all to say something, when really the power and what's gonna take you to the next level is the person that's sitting next to you. How many people see somebody that you don't know? Look around, how many people see something? We was here for 45 minutes before we even started. We should fix that. We family. That's how they get together. I've been in the rooms with a whole bunch of people from the other culture where they don't know each other. They standing up, walking around. Hey, what's up? What do you do? Hey, what's up? I was just at a mastermind. They see somebody, they're like, hey, you're new. What do you do? But we don't do that. But I'm telling you, the business partners, the podcast hosts you're gonna have, the people that are gonna take you to another level aren't on the stage. They're right in this crowd, I'm telling you.
So I'm gonna mention my pillars of success. I told you them when you interviewed me as well. And the first one is networking, right? I always say that it's not just about who you know, but also who knows you. So it's not just, oh, I was just talking to somebody. No, you have to actually engage with them for them to remember you as well. The second thing is that you have to leave some people behind, meaning that you got to surround yourself with the right people, right? You're already in here surrounding yourself with the right people who are positive, people who are trying to level up, right? So you have to consciously leave some people behind because they're not on the same journey with you. The third thing is that you have to buy seats at tables, mentorship, conferences, whatever. You have to invest in yourself. Don't look at it like I'm spending money on going to this conference or I'm spending money on this mentorship. You're spending money on yourself, on your knowledge. And while you're in those rooms with those tables that you're buying the seats at and you're networking there, and you left some people behind, you should also be building your own table. And that's what he's mentioning right now. That's why it's important that you gotta talk to each other. You gotta network and see who you can connect with and then start working on things together. It's not always partnership, I say it's collaboration, right? So that's why one of the things that Van and I say a lot is collaboration over competition all day. That's important. So explain a little bit what your definition of entrepreneur even is, right? Because I hear a lot of people use the term. Why not just say businessman, businesswoman? Why do you say entrepreneur? What does it mean to you?
I think just building something and watching it grow. You know what I mean? Like consistently building something and watching it grow, if I had to put a short definition on it.
Now, looking at
there's like social entrepreneurs too. They're not just about business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You build a nonprofit and you just watch it grow, but it has to be based on the numbers. Some people say, well, my business is growing, but you don't really know if you're making more money or not. You're not watching how much it's working. So
Hustler, the entrepreneur.
Let's go.
That's what it's about. Hustling is just getting to the day-to-day, right? You're just trying to figure out today, how can I put food on the plate today? You're not really watching the numbers. You're just figuring out how to get the bills paid, the car note paid, getting the kids daycare. You hustling, you grind, you got a business, and you're just trying to get it paid. But entrepreneurship is what he's speaking on. You got to have systems. You got to have people. You have to know the trajectory of where your business is going. You need to know your insights. You need to know your audience. You need to know all of these things. You got to have a team. And that's what entrepreneurship is about. And that's really what the podcast is about. I've heard this term about you, bro, and I just want to see how you feel about this. People call you the Oprah Winfrey of entrepreneurs.
Why do they say that? Why do they say that?
I'm asking you.
That's a compliment.
That's a compliment, by the way.
I think Oprah became a billionaire by asking questions. Ask a bunch of questions. Like we were in the car and she's asking questions. Like she got the makings of a billionaire. But sometimes we're so prideful and we don't want to ask someone for help or ask a question. I'm going to be real with you. A lot of the people that I interview, I make more money than them. Just keeping it 100 with you.
Now.
I don't know, Beez. Things have been looking up this year, Beez. I don't know.
I know.
But you would never tell it, right? There's some things that I could be teaching my guests when I interview, but you never tell it because I'm trying to learn what you know. You can't get rich with answers.
Say that one more time.
Hey, that was good. Yeah, you can't get rich with answers. And we feel like we have all the answers. Van, have you ever had somebody come up to you and say, yo, man, I love what you're doing, got a few questions, but they never really get to the question?
Yes.
It's like, yo, I got a few questions, man. So this is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm doing, and how I'm doing it this way. And the genius part on what I'm doing is, it's like this, and this is why I'm doing it this way. And why I came is because I had this, and I'm like, and sometimes I just sit there, like you don't even have bandwidth to receive information because you're so busy giving answers. And you're looking for validation to make sure your answers are right. And if you ever go against somebody's answers, then they start coming to, like they're telling me what they're doing, they're asking for advice, and they finally get to a question, and then I'll give them my answer on why all the stuff they just said was wrong, and then it becomes a debate, and I'm like, yo, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And they walk away happy, and I get to have my time back. But we gotta start asking questions. Just get in the habit. I got a podcast mentorship group where some of the homework is just ask questions. No cameras, no lights, no podcast. When you in the grocery store, ask some questions to the how long you been here? Oh really, you like it? What made you stay? You must like it. Anything else you want to do? You just start asking everywhere I go, I'm asking questions because I'm practicing, extracting information from people.
Yeah, I've seen him do that. He asks a lot of questions for real. But so there's a good question. You really you have something amazing because you chose to interview entrepreneurs and you chose to learn from what they're doing. Out of all of the entrepreneurs that you've interviewed, what's your top 3 favorite episodes of your podcast?
Man, it's like asking top 3 children and you got 6 of them. I don't know.
But we know 2 are already me and Van.
Yeah,
what's
so
the
one more.
You know?
Grant Cardone was interesting. Grant Cardone, oh man, he told this story how
I was there.
He wanted a plane, and the people was like, yo, we can't get a plane for you yet because like you won't be able to get it till next year. Grant Cardone's like, no, I need the plane. He said, well, the people said, yo, he's talking to the owner of the company like, how we can't get a plane. He told his assistant, hey, wire him a few million. I think the plane was 4 million, something like that. 6 million? 65 million, yeah. He's like, yo, send him the money. And he said, they called back and said, hey, well, we found this plane. But I learned, like, you just gotta go at it. Like, you just have to walk as if you're supposed to be here. We greet each other, hey king, hey queen, but we not walking like that. We not like taking charge of the room. We acting timid when other people get around. That really impacted me to just walk and act as if. Like, whatever you're telling me is not true. It's true to you, but what I want to happen, this is what's going to happen. So that was one of the most impactful, and bro, I really can't, I get something amazing from every episode, bro.
What was your favorite part of his episode?
Beez is a master at delegation. So it goes against my philosophy, especially for like a beginning entrepreneur. You should probably do one thing. You should focus on that. And you want to argue about it now? We can. But I did get some things like he's not afraid to look at a new project and think in system. Okay, I need to put a system on this business. I'm gonna start this other business. I'm gonna put a system on it. And I still don't understand how he does it, even though I believe if you did take all your time, energy, resources, and brain power on one thing, you'll probably do 10 times what you're doing right now. But just
okay. All right, we're gonna go into the lesson tonight then. Now, the way that I look at things is that you have 2 options. All right, so prior to my last 5 years being a full-time entrepreneur, I worked at Microsoft, I worked at Accenture, I was an IT strategy management consultant, all right? So I would go into Fortune 500 companies and help them to re-engineer their process, help them to be more efficient, and et cetera, right? Now, I used to think that the only way to start a business, to be an entrepreneur, was that you go through the typical rounds of funding, like the startup process. You go through friends and family round, angel investor round, venture capital round, and there was a certain process that you followed for that. Then I realized, because that was the goal of, hey, I'm gonna make it into $1 billion business. I'm gonna keep growing. I'm gonna make it something huge. And I was doing that for a lot of the times, and I would sometimes successful, but then sometimes it would fail. That's okay. That's the typical entrepreneur. But then what I learned is that I could be okay with 10 businesses each making, in 7 figures. I'm all right with that. So yes, you're right. I could grow one business, put all my focus on it, and then make that into a $100 million business, $1 billion business. But that's not what I chose to do right now. Right now I chose, okay, let me have multiple businesses. I have 2 that are still 6 figures. I have 6 that are 7 figures right now, and 1 that's 8 figures. Now, but because my main thing is how do you reclaim your time? Right, so for me, I'm not gonna start a business. I just closed my trucking business, which you asked me about on the podcast, and I said, I was doing okay, but I'm not so sure. Remember that? I just closed the trucking business, not because trucking is not profitable. Alex would hate me if I said that, right? But it was more because it didn't fit my model. My model was that I wanted to choose businesses that I can scale, that they could be autonomous without me, because the money wasn't really the biggest thing for me. What was bigger was the time. That time wealth is freedom, right? The financial wealth is great, but the time wealth is what I really wanted. So I challenge him a lot and everybody, because a lot of people say, oh, you should only do one thing. And I say, well, no, you should do one thing first, but you can do multiple things. You just got to do it the right way. And you have to put process systems and people in place in order for it to be churning, in order for it to be, how did you phrase it? Can you afford to be sick, right? You can't afford to be sick if you don't have those things in place. So to me, that was the most important thing, is that, hey, I can try different things, because everybody says that you have, the rich in this world have 7 streams of revenue. I just chose to make those 7 streams businesses, right? You can make it other things, real estate and such, right?
So that leads into the next question. I've heard, and you can confirm, that you have over 100 streams of revenue. Can you please touch on that to the audience?
Clap that up first. Y'all may not think that's real. That sounds kind of weird. Who believes that he has over 100 streams of revenue?
Believe it or not.
You're going to hear why. Think about it.
I truly believe this. I'm telling everybody to start a podcast, not because I think it's a cool career, but it's a way to automate your income, to really do something one time and continue to get paid for it. So every single video that I put on YouTube pays for the next 2-3 years. Right, so I was talking to I went to this conference, this Rick Ross conference, 25,000 to be there, and the guy asked me, what do you want to get out of this conference? And I said, I want to be able to interview Rick Ross, and he said, okay, cool. So he has a book coming out. You can interview him about his book, and you can put it on your podcast. I'm like, bet, because I understand if I do this interview, it's going on YouTube and it's going on my audio podcast, and both of those will monetize for the next 2 years. But I have like 400 videos on YouTube, and every single one of them pays every day. Now, some of them pay a couple $100s a day, some of them pay a couple dollars a day. But I understand that every time I put one out, I make more money. That's why Diddy will always be wealthy. That's why these record execs are wealthy, because they know if they have a bunch of artists and they're all putting out an album, they're gonna make a little bit of money off of every single song on every single album, and those streams become little soldiers for them that are gonna go out, bring some more money back. So I don't take a lot of speaking gigs. I don't do no one-on-one clients. They're like, yo, I wanna be one-on-one, $2,000, $5,000. I'm not doing it, because I gotta do the work and then make the money. It's no better than a high-paid employee. I wanna do something one time, and if that one thing can keep paying me, I'll do it. And that's how I'm building my whole model.
Nice, that up for sure. So looking at that, you have revenue from ads for each video, right? You also have affiliate marketing from each guest potentially as well, right? And what else? What other things within there are the specific streams of revenue? So you have 170 episodes right now?
Yeah, 100, and we just dropped 100 in episode 171. But we take the whole episodes and we'll take a clip out of that, and then put like a 12, 13-minute clip out of an hour-and-a-half interview and put that on YouTube too. So you gotta pay me twice for that same piece of content. So we'll drop 2 new episodes every single week, and then 2 or 3 repurpose episodes every single week, so that those continue to make money. So YouTube will make money off of each video. The audio, so when you upload the audio, that's a whole nother thing. So we make money off of the audio as well. Ads. So somebody will send me an ad and say, hey Dave, I want you to promote this conference. So I'll go on there and say, hey, this person's doing this conference, this is the date, come on out. So I charge $3,000 for that, or 4 for $10,000, just in case y'all was wondering. You know what I mean?
He's giving y'all the game. That's serious.
Hold up. So you say you don't do speaking engagements.
Not
So often. How did you get to the Rebrand Mastermind?
Really, you
Vegas.
asked me, bro.
There we go.
You're my boy. So I really, man, listen.
So,
because I got a baby, man. I can't wait to get back home.
I got you. So can you talk to the power of relationships? Because if we didn't have a relationship and I asked you, it would have been a hard no.
For sure.
So let's talk about the power of relationships and how you having a podcast has been able to forge a lot of powerful relationships that money couldn't buy, priceless relationships.
It is vital, man. Yo, literally every day there's 3 or 4 people who jump in my DM and say, hey, I want to be on the podcast. So now we're charging between $10,000 and $12,000 if I don't really know you like that. But even you got to get past that. So mostly everybody's been on the podcast I know, or they came through somebody I know. It's just everything is about relations. Everything. Like there's some things that I don't know if y'all have been in corporate America. Anybody been in corporate America and you've been passed up for a job where you knew you were better qualified? What happened? There was a relationship there. There was a relationship there. Every time. So that's why I'm saying, yo, y'all got to start connecting with the people in this room, because everybody in this room has a mindset to invest in them. And somebody who has a mindset to invest in themselves is dangerous. Like, you are going to be the ones that are most successful, especially the ones that start like investing on another level. So I'm looking for everybody I could pay on a higher level mastermind. I was literally today researching high-level podcast mastermind. I'm looking to pay somebody. The Genius Network joint was $25,000. Take the money. I'm in a $55,000 mentorship. Take the money. The same year, I paid for another $25,000 mentorship. Take the money. I'm trying to get in those rooms that keep people out. Like, I need to be in a room with people who have the mindset to invest $25,000. That's where it goes down. I'm telling you. So once y'all start getting out of I'm investing $300 in a ticket or $1,000 or however much you got to be here. Once you like really get that taste to say, I'm going to another level, I'm ready to invest 5, invest 10, invest it. And I'm not telling you nothing that I'm not doing myself. This is what works.
But you see, the key there is, you got to get in the room. Remember, one of those pillars of success, but you have to network while you're in that room. Imagine you spend $25,000 and maybe you're just soaking up some information quietly, but you don't maximize what you're getting from that room if you're not networking with people and creating those relationships. I dropped the Bank of America play. Anybody ever heard that online? People talking about that online? That's me. I dropped that. That is not a play. That's a program at Bank of America. But that's all it is. But everybody's like, wow, that's bars, Beez. Beez dropped a new play. I was like, that's not a play. My banker called me and said, hey, by the way, we got a new program. And all I did was pass the information, right? So that relationship with my banker led to me, the way that I scaled my cars was through that program and 2 or 3 other programs. That's how I ended up getting a bunch of exotic cars and renting them out. You did about the same too, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? So even a relationship with a banker.
Let me say this, and I just got this. So my boy, I told my man, like, yo, I heard about this Genius Network joint with Joe Polish, and I'm trying to see what the other side be talking about. You know what I mean? Like, all my masterminds, mentorships, they all be looking like me, which is cool. I love my people. But there's some other information over there, right? So I told my boy, like, I want to join. And he said, well, hold on, because I'm like an administrator for it. You could just come out to Phoenix with me. I'm like, all right, bet. Relationships, say relationships. So he got me in the room. I didn't have to pay just yet, but I'm prepared. I know it's $25,000. I'm doing it anyway. So we get there, and by the end of it, I'm just seeing some amazing people. These is like 9-figure entrepreneurs. And I got a chance to talk to this one guy. And he was saying, yeah, like, one of my businesses does 22 million, and I only have about, I think he said he had like 500-600 people in his program. I'm like, yo, map out that 22 million. I need to know how you're making $22 million. I just met this guy, older white guy, right? But I have to know, say questions. So he starts mapping out where his revenue comes from and how he escalates everybody that comes in like this entry point, and he sells them something else. But he creates the problem, and he knows the problem that they have, and all he's doing is creating solutions for the people who have the problem. And he knows that that's the problem, so that's why he creates the business, and he offers it to the people that are already in his group. It was crazy, right? The way he's mapping it out. My question for you, if you wanted to know how to build a $22 million business, where would you go? Huh? Who would you ask? No, I'm saying like a person. Where would you go? I know, but who's the person? Who you know? Who you got in your phone that's doing the tour? That's what I'm saying. You got to get in a room of people who have that. I'm talking to a guy, 9-figure entrepreneur, and I'm talking to him, and he starts talking about purpose. I said, man, I cannot figure out for the life of me how I'm going to build a 9-figure business. I don't see it yet. Anybody, be honest, you just don't see how you would. I don't. And he said, well, you need to he said, why do you want to do it? And I'm like, well, I know I can. It's not nothing I can do with $100 million that I can't do. I mean, maybe. I don't know. My lifestyle ain't that. Yeah. I don't do a lot though, right? Yeah. Maybe I would. Maybe I don't because I don't have $100 million. Yeah. But what he said, for one, you got to figure out why you want that. And then we start talking, and we get on the conversation of like the people that's on my team. And pretty much everybody on my team is a contractor. They're not like a full-time employee because I believe in entrepreneurship. So I'm not about to, if you work with me, I want you to get your money. I'm gonna put you on. You edit my videos, you need somebody to edit your videos, I'm gonna introduce you. And he said, can't get to 9 figures that way. He said, you need some people that are sold out, that don't work for nobody else. My man called me the other day, was like, yo, the girl that does your operations, can you connect me with her? Does she work for just you or is that a service that she offers? I'm like, it's a service that she offers. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll make the connection, no problem, because I ain't trying to stop nobody money. But if I'm gonna get to 9 figures, I can't operate. I need some people that are sold out for this particular objective. I would not have that conversation with nobody else. Where would I get this information? I was thinking it's cool. And he said something crazy to me. He said, and I started explaining it, I'm like, I promote entrepreneurship and I don't know how they're gonna feel about it because I can only pay a certain amount of money. And he's like, well, you gotta figure out a way where they can make more money in your organization. Paint the vision and make more money with them. But what he said changed my life. He said, and I was talking about like, I don't know how they feel and I don't wanna stop their money or whatever. He said, the people on your team are probably waiting for you to say something like that. He said, they're probably waiting for you to step up and say, look, stop doing all this stuff for other people. This is where we going. He said, they're probably waiting for you to say that. But the only reason they taking other clients is because you ain't say that yet. I said, that's $100 million conversation.
Right rooms, right tables, right conversations.
But who gonna pay $25,000 to get into a mastermind to have a conversation like that?
But listen, you can start even in, who goes to the gym, works out? Who goes, tell me what gym you go to. LA Fitness, there we go. Everybody at LA Fitness, man. Madhouse, okay. Phase 1, I don't know that one, but okay. Edge Fitness. There's a gym called Equinox or something in Miami, like a couple $100 a month, as opposed to the $30 that LA Fitness.
Hold on, I feel attacked, because I got an LA Fitness membership.
No. I got an LA Fitness membership as well. It's around the corner. If I need to go work out, I got to go there. But I also have the Equinox. Actually, I don't have it anymore, but I did. And the reason why is because that's a form of getting in the room a bit. Because at least the other people who are willing to pay $200, $300, $400, $500 to go into that gym, start talking to them. You never know what type of connections, what type of relationship you could build. Ask them what they do. Ask questions, all right? Before we continue on, can we tell everybody how I beat you in spades? No? You don't want to get into that?
I don't remember.
Oh, sure. There you go. Okay, so my next question. Since we're talking about the things that you've been learning out of it, so this was a different question. I asked you before, what's your favorite episodes, your top 3 episodes? But what's your top 3 business strategies that you learned, the business models that you're most interested in?
One would definitely be leverage. We got a lot of people that are like leveraging other people's liabilities and turn them into assets. Mm-hmm. So my man Pushman Mitch, he said he's not into acquiring cars anymore. He'll partner with somebody who has a car, he rents it out, they pay the note, we both make money. So like the leverage play. I couldn't get for the life of me why somebody would rent an apartment and then rent it to other people when the strategy should be just buy a property and rent it out. But like just learning that leverage play, major. Definitely systems, putting systems in place, so much, man. 171 episodes is so much, bro.
Definitely. I'll tell you one of my favorite too is one of our Hive brothers. You know what Hive is, by the way?
Tell me more.
You haven't heard of Hive yet? We got another one of my Hive brothers right over there.
Hive?
Put your hand up. Anybody heard of Hive? There we go.
I'm not the only one though that ain't heard of it though, Beez. Don't try to.
Don't worry about it. Listen, a lot of these things just started. So Hive is coalition of entrepreneurial leaders. We've come together. How many of you have heard of Circle of CEOs? You've heard of that, right? All right, so Circle of CEOs, they've come together, they're working together, a lot of business strategies, they're masterminding and whatnot. Hive, we've come together more to impact others, more for charitable causes, to help the youth, right? So things like that I feel is extremely important. Van feels is extremely important. So we were always talking. That's how we actually connected. That's how we actually not met, but met in person, was at a charitable event. So we were like, yo, we need to change the the world by uplifting our community, by helping more people, especially with the kids. And that's what Hive was. That's how we came together. So now one of my Hive brothers is Jason, Jay White. Now, anybody familiar with my brother Jay? So Jay White talks about government contracting. Talking about leverage again, this is a concept that I want everybody to make sure that you remember. Being a middleman, nothing wrong with that. A lot of times we think like, nah, I just want to be the source of everything. There's nothing wrong with being a middleman business. I got a bunch of middleman businesses. Jay White will just get a contract from the government, subcontract it out, collect the money in between. It's as simple as that. Nothing major to it, right? But people don't think that, or they do think, most people think that you have to build the full business yourself, do everything yourself. Anyone ever hear the quote, a jack of all trades is a master of none? That's the wrong quote. The actual quote is, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. This is why I say that you can do multiple things. Because in my business, I'm doing multiple things. I know a little bit about the finance. I know a little bit about the marketing. I know a little bit about the, every single area. Enough so that the finance person can't jip me. The marketing person ain't gonna slack, right? So I'm a jack of all trades in my business. So there's nothing wrong with being a jack of all trades, because it's better than being a master of one. Only focusing on one. Throwing the battle right back at you, brother. But I want to agree. Do you agree with that?
6 in one hand, half a dozen in another.
For sure.
It could go either way. I think it's based on the person's personality type. Are they a pilot? Are they a, flight attendant? Are they a high C personality to where they don't want to be around people? So I think it's based on what your personality type is. For me, I can do multiple things because I can get to the goal. I just want to get to the goal. And if I have people around me that have the system-oriented mindset, then we can make it work. But if I don't got no systems around me, I'm going to be all over the place.
Here's my
not
challenge,
getting nothing done.
Well, maybe, I know you talk a lot about front-facing businesses. It's just challenging for branding for me. You know what I mean? So I would do a lot of stuff like teaching entrepreneurship and all that kind of stuff. And then I just post on my social media like, yo, I am a podcaster. That's it. Even when I went to Genius Network, I could tell them about the 600 people that we have in the morning meetup. I could tell them about the entrepreneurship content creation studio we have. I have a clothing line. I have a kiosk in the mall, all this kind of stuff. But for branding, people are like, hey, what do you do? I have a podcast. And that's the only thing we talk about. So I'm talking about for branding purposes, I think people need to think of you as one thing. You know what I mean?
I agree. So I agree when it comes to personal branding, definitely, which we'll touch on more tomorrow. I think it's time to open it up for Q&A. I know a lot of people hungry, trying to eat.
They bring the food. Are they waiting for us to bring the food?
For us. So we're gonna hold Q&A.